Would we call school a failure because most students don't become an entrepreneur or CEO? The conversation almost always ends up in the same place. Can you make a career from it? Can you earn from it? The moment we stop asking, will this child make it? And we need to start asking the other question. What kind of person will this child become? Let me start with the one sentence no parent in this country wants to hear. Your child is probably not going to play for India. Statistically, almost certainly not. Not the Olympics, not the national team, and every parent watching this just felt something in their chest. I know, you must have. Some of you also got angry. I understand. Because that feeling you just had, that's the most important thing we're going to talk about today. That fear, is my kid good enough to make it, has distracted us from much more important question. Yes. Not whether sport can create athletes, but whether sport can create better human beings. I am Karan. This is IAMGAME Sport. And I want to spend the next few minutes changing that question. Because when we talk about sport in India, the conversation almost always ends up in the same place. Can you make a career from it? Can you earn from it? Can you be selected? मेरा बच्चा select होगा for the national team? And this is a fair question. But they are incomplete question. Because they assume the only value of sport is what happens at the end. यानी कि जो एंड में हो रहा है, यानी मेडल मिला तो ठीक है. The contract, the scholarship, the trophy. Imagine applying that logic to education. Would we call school a failure because most students don't become an entrepreneur or CEO? Would we call music a waste because most children don't become a professional musician or a rock star and earn millions of money? Of course not. We understand that those experiences have value beyond the final outcome. Yet, with sport, we have somehow convinced ourselves that if a child doesn't become a professional athlete, the journey wasn't worth it. And that belief is costing us more than we realize. Let's talk about the 99%, the kids who never play professionally. What do they actually live with? Because that's where the real story is. They learn how to fail, not theoretically, publicly. They lose matches, miss chances, make mistakes, and then come back the next day. There is no textbook that teaches that. They learn discipline not because somebody gives them a lecture about discipline, because discipline becomes the price of participation. They learn teamwork, leadership, communication, and how to deal with pressure, how to deal with disappointment, how to compete fiercely and still respect the person standing across from them. That's why we call, you should have that sportsman spirit. And here's the one that matters most. Sports teaches something life keeps trying to teach adults. And here it is. The effort and outcome are not the same thing. And I would argue that sport is more important today than it has been ever. Because look at the world we are growing up in. Children are moving less. Sofa mein baithe hain, they're watching television or playing their favorite video game. Sitting more, scrolling more. We're talking about rising anxiety, declining physical health, loneliness, attention span. Oh my God, there's so many kids who have ADHD now these days. Confidence has taken a backseat. Where they belong, there's a big question mark. And then we wonder why young people are struggling. Sport doesn't solve everything, but it addresses more of these problems than almost anything else. Think about it. It creates community where you go and meet people physically. It creates routine. It creates accountability. It creates confidence. It creates resilience. That's the most important factor. Not through theory, through experiences every single day. Now let's zoom out, because this isn't just about individual children. It's about our country. It's about India. It's about Bharat. People keep asking why India doesn't produce enough world-class athletes. And everyone has different answer. Everyone. They will say, they'll blame. Infrastructure अच्छा नहीं है, facilities ठीक नहीं है, पता है. Funding नहीं आई, मालूम है. Coaching okay है. Yes, we know. Policy was not good enough for us to take that kid forward. Those things matter. I know those things matter. But before all that, the most important part is the belief. Because nations that produce athlete first produces participants. More participants coming, more winners. And nations that produce participants first build a culture that values sport. Let's build that culture. कहाँ है? Not because every child become a champion, but because every child benefits from playing. That's the shift. The moment we stop asking, will this child make it? And we need to start asking the other question. What kind of person will this child become? Everything changes. It changes for their parents, for schools, for communities, for the country. And ये बात मैं इसलिए बोलना चाह रहा हूँ क्योंकि I believe in it. I believe in the sport can transform any country. So here is where I leave you with. Your child is probably not going to play for India. But that's not the point. The point is that sport may be one of the most powerful tools we have for developing resilient, confident, capable human beings more than ever in today's scenario. And if we keep measuring sport only by the medals it produces, we'll keep missing the much bigger value it creates. I'm Karan Chettri. This is IAMGAME Sport. And if we are serious about building a sporting nation, the first thing we need to change isn't the infrastructure. It's the question. It's the question to ourselves that why sports is so important. And that's why India plays here. And that's why we are here.